Let's actually start with Ma Tovu, which I'm just finding the page for you, is page 30. Ma Tovu, Ma Tovu, Ma Tovu ohalecha Yaakov. Mishknotecha Yisrael, Mishknotecha Yisrael, V'ani berov chastecha ahavo veitecha, Eshtachave, Eshtachave, El heichal kodshecha, Be'yiratecha, El heichal kodshecha ve'yiratecha. Adonai ahavti me'on beitecha u'makom mishkan kavodecha. V'ani eshtachave ve'echra evrecha lifnei Adonai osi. V'ani tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim berov chastecha aneni behemet Yishecham. And so now you can turn back to page 4. We're going to stand up for the Baruch Hu. Seated, page 6. We'll do in English. Blessed are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, and whose understanding changes times and seasons, and who arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Everlasting, ever-living God, may you reign over us into eternity. Blessed are you, eternal one, who brings on the evenings. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. Page 8. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha havta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu lihimadetam, al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochveinu, v'kumeinu nasiach v'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayeinu, v'yorech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla, v'avatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, ohev et amo Yisrael, Ohev et amo Yisrael. So as you've seen, we have no choir tonight. So you are the choir, so please join in. And we're going to join together now in the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לתותבות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. And turn to bottom of page 13. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. page 14. אמת ואמונה כל זאת וקיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואין זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל עמו, הפודנו מיד לכם, המכנו הגואלנו מכף כל העריצים, העושה גדולות עד אין חקר ונפלאות עד אין מספר, הנשם נפשנו בחיים ולא נתן למות רגלינו, העושה לנו ניסים בפרעה, אותות ומופתים באדמת בניכם, ויוצא את עמו ישראל מתוכם לחירות עולם, וראו בניו גבורתו שבחו והודו לשמו, ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל. לך ענו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילתו ספל, נורא תהילתו ספל. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זה אלינו ויאמרו, זה אלינו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל, יין נין 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 נין. Page 18, Hashkivenu, that prayer for peace, granting us peace. We'll start off with the song, a tune that the community's become used to, and then we'll say it together in English. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adoshem Elokeinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Head together in English. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, thou sovereign, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. God, our going and coming to life and to peace forevermore. Baruch atah Adonai, shomer amo Yisrael la'ad. Blessed are you, Eternal One, guardian of Israel. Those of you who are observant will know that there's a little bit of a difference in the bracha there from Shabbat. Okay, so that we say Shomer Amo Yisrael, guardian of Israel, not the one who spreads peace over us and of a whole, right? It's a different because it's the weekday service that we do. Now we're going to stand up as we lead into the Amidah, okay? And then we're going to do Amidah. We're going to do as Rabbi Chava does. We're going to do the first part together, and then we're going to do quietly, and we'll join together at the end. Okay, so we can move towards our Purim festivities. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alvad yivrach yivutzei v'yam yichmal v'tei v'chayichonu v'yom yichonu v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael, v'adalav yizman kariv imru, Amen. Yeheshven Rabba Mavorach. Ve'olam Olom El Maya. Yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach. Yitba'al v'yitrovah v'yitnaseh. Yitadar v'yitalel v'yitalal shnei v'kodesha. Brichu. Le'elam in kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nekevata. Damiran ve'alma v'imru. Amen. You now need to turn to page 74 for the beginning of the Amidah. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konehi Hakol V'Zocher Chasdehi Avot V'Imahot Umevi Geulaha Livnei V'nehem Leman Shemo B'Ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah Atagibo leolam Adonai mechayei meitim atarav lehoshia mashiv haruach umorid haga'eshem mazriach hashemesh umorid hatahal mechalkel chayim bechesed mechayei meitim berachamim rabim somech noflim verofei choholim umatir asurim ומקיים אמונתו לשני העפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מהלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמנת להחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. 84 silently onwards, please. Page 100. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol ha'olam, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ohoseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol ha'olam, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol ha'olam. Yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol ha'olam. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol ha'olam. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol ha'olam, ve'imru, amen. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, for all Israel, and all who inhabit this earth. And let us say, amen. Thank you to our intrepid ark openers who I forgot to call out. Thank you very much. It was Peter and Alan. Thank you very much. So, that is our service for the time being. We'll conclude at the end with the Aleinu, but we're not going to do that quite yet. We're now going to have a special rendition of the Megillah through puppetry. We are going to read the Megillah as well, okay, for those of you who want to hear the Megillah as well. And you've been given copies of the Megillah as well. And we're going to do the traditional readings. We're going to shout and make noise and all kinds of things. But we're first going to see the puppet show. Now, a puppet show is a little bit, I see lots of people sitting in this row. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see. So I recommend people go across to the to that block over there. And you're going to be able to see, we've got lots of children here. Everyone's looking splendid. As we know, on Purim, you dress up, right? Everything's a bit topsy-turvy. So someone said to me, my hat's the wrong way. Well, it's deliberately the wrong way, right? Because it's topsy-turvy, right? And we're colorful, and we're in personalities. We dress up as people who we may not ordinarily be. And we deal with the topsy-turviness of the story, which has a whole lot of transitions, as we see, and surprises along the way, and what seems to be the case changes, etc. So thank you very much to Margaret Albach, who is our wonderful puppeteer. Margaret, thank you for the show. I'm going to come down and watch it myself. And I hope all the children enjoy it. And then we're going to do the reading of the Megillah itself, as well as the adults, hopefully.
Great. All right. Well, I'm going to stop talking. I've got some friends inside who are very, very excited to see everyone. So just relax, everyone, and enjoy the show.
Well, I do believe I can hear somebody out there. Oh, I must come and have a little look and see if I can see who is there. Oh, there. Now let me see if I can get up here. Here we go. A 1, a 2, a 3. Well, what a wonderful surprise. Welcome, everybody, Chag Sameach. Welcome to the story of Purim. Now, my name is Seymour the Jester, and I would like to welcome you all to the Palace of Shushan. You can see it right up there, and we are going back in time to Persia, before it was called Iran, a long time ago. And in fact, King Ahasuerus was having an awful lot of tourists. So you will see the king just now and his queen Vashti. They will be along presently. Oh dear, I wonder what could have happened to Vashti. I don't know where she is. I do hope I'll be able to find her. Vashti, I've been looking all over the place for her, and I don't know what could have happened to her. Queen Vashti, where are you? Oh dear. Well, I think I can hear somebody out there. Now, let me come and have a little look and see if they maybe know where my queen is. Oh, let me come and have a little look. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Oh, look at this. How very nice to see you all. Now, let me come down a little bit and see if you can help me. Greetings, my friend. I am King Ahasuerus, and I wonder if any of you have seen the Queen Vashti, anywhere around. Have you seen her by any chance? No. Oh dear, I wonder where she is. Queen Vashti, where are you? Yes, I hear you calling me. Here I am, Ahasuerus.
Hello, my queen. Will you look at this? I found all these people from Beit Emanuel here.
Well, this is indeed a wonderful surprise. Now, I heard you calling me, my dear.
Yes, my queen. I would like to ask you if you could dance for me today.
Dance for you?
Yes, please, could you dance for me?
No, I do not feel like dancing today.
Well, please, my queen, I need some entertainment.
No. I am not in the mood for dancing, and you know I do not like dancing very much. If you want some dancing, then you will have to dance yourself.
Oh, no, I want some dancing right now, and if you won't dance for me, you will have to leave.
Leave?
Yes, you will have to leave the palace right away.
Well, I'm certainly not going to dance for you. And besides, I have been thinking I would like to go traveling, so I do not mind leaving the palace at all. I will be going right now. Goodbye, King.
Oh, I wasn't actually expecting that. Now I have a bit of a problem. Here I am, a king who does not have a queen, and that is no good at all. I will have to do something about this. I wonder what I can do. Oh dear. I think I will have to, I know, I will send lots and lots of messengers all over the country, and they will have to bring me some prospective queens. Now let me see. I think I will ask them to all bring their CVs, and then I will have a look and I will see which one is going to be the best queen for me. Yes, that is what I will do.
Oh my goodness, look at all these people. I was just listening to the king.
Oh dear, the king has told Queen Vashti to leave, and now there is no queen. I am Mordechai, and I have a cousin called Esther, and you know what? I think I must find her. Esther, will you look here? Esther, please come this way.
Yes, I'm coming. Is that you, Mordechai?
Yes, Esther, it's me. I have something very important to tell you.
All right, here I am. Oh, Mordecai, you didn't tell me that Beit Emanuel was going to be here today.
No, I didn't tell you. I just found them here when I came.
Well, that is very good. I heard you calling me, and it's very nice to see all of you. Welcome everybody to the palace and our land.
Well, yes, my dear, but I have something very important to tell you, and it sort of relates to the palace.
Yes, in what way?
Well, I don't suppose you have heard any of the Lashon Hara about the Queen.
Lashon Hara about the Queen? No, I haven't. Have you heard any Lashon Hara about the Queen by any chance? They're very shy, you know.
Oh, don't worry. They haven't heard anything either.
Oh dear. Well, what is the Lashon Hara?
Well, the thing is, Queen Vashti has left the palace.
The Queen has left the palace?
Yes, and I have been thinking, my dear Esther, you are my cousin, and I know that you are very wise. Why don't you go and see the king?
Go and see the king? Why would I go and see the king?
Well, he's looking for a new queen, and I think you would be the best queen ever.
Oh, that is very sweet of you, but I don't know about that.
Well, I think you should go and find the king. I will go and tell him that you are coming on your way, and maybe you can just meet with the king.
All right, Mordecai, I suppose I could try that.
Off you go, and I wish you the very best of luck.
All right, I will go.
Oh, my goodness. You know, poor Esther. She has lost her parents when she was very young, and so I brought her up, and she's so kind and so wise. I'm sure the king will like her very, very much indeed.
Oh, dear. Now I'm going to speak to a king. I'm not very used to this sort of thing at all. Oh, dear. I suppose I'd better try to make myself very brave. I will just wait here and see if the king will see me.
Now, I was just speaking to Mordecai, and Mordecai tells me that I should meet with his cousin. Oh, my goodness, I have seen so many people, and not one of them is right for me. I should never have chased the queen away. Vashti, oh dear, I was just a little bit rash, that was all. But now, I don't think I will ever find anybody who is right for me. Oh, what am I going to do?
Hello?
Oh, my goodness. Who are you?
My name is Esther.
Esther? Are you Mordecai's cousin?
Yes, I'm Mordecai's cousin.
Well, welcome. My goodness. Esther, all of a sudden, my heart is beating like a big bass drum. My Esther.
Yes, what is it?
Well, I am King Ahasuerus.
Yes, I know that you are the king. I've come to see you.
I know you've come to see me. Mordecai told me you were coming. I think you should come along with me, and maybe we can go for a little walk in the forest.
A walk in the forest? That will be wonderful. Are there some squirrels in the forest?
Oh, yes, there might be some squirrels. Come along with me, Esther. Oh, I'm quite beside myself. My knees are knocking. Come, my dear, let's go into the forest, and you can see if you can find some squirrels.
Okay, that will be very, very nice, because I really do like squirrels very, very much. Well. Now let me come and see my friends again. Here we come, and here we come. Well, as you can imagine, this was a shidduch made in heaven. Yes, indeed, the two of them were married, and they lived very happily for a while, until One fine day, Mordecai happened to hear two people plotting in the shadows. Now let's see what's going to happen.
Oh, hello, Teresh.
Yes, Big Tad. I'm so glad you came. I have something very important to talk to you about.
Oh, okay. All right, Teresh.
Now, come along. I hope there's nobody around here.
No, I don't think there's anybody here.
Well, that will be very good, because it's very important and it's very hush-hush. We don't want to have anybody listening around the corner.
Okay, Teresh. Well, let's come over here.
All right. Now, come along. I'm sure there's nobody here.
Yes, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure. Teresh, there are some people over here.
Yes, there are some people over here, but I don't think we have to worry. I think they're from Beit Emanuel, and I think we should be quite safe.
Okay, well, I hope so. Some of them are dressed very strangely.
Yes, you're right. Some of them have very interesting costumes on.
Yes, very interesting indeed. Now, what did you want to tell me, Teresh?
Well, the thing is, I think it's time that we got rid of the king.
Oh, don't you think that's a bit rash to get rid of the king? Why would we do that?
Because there will be lots of chaos after the king is gone, and then we can go looting all over.
Oh, well, if you put it that way, maybe that will be a good idea. But how are we going to get rid of the king? Are we going to bump him off?
Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to bump him off.
But how are we going to do that, Teresh?
Well, there are a few things we could do.
I know, we could push him over a cliff.
Yes, we could push him over a cliff.
Or we could smother him with a giant marshmallow.
Huh? Well, I suppose we could do that. I've got an idea. Why don't we subject him to 3 years of load shedding?
Well, that's a good idea.
And that should put an end to him. And if it doesn't put an end to him, we can just cut off
what?
Cut off his water. And then he will have no water, no electricity, and for sure that will fix him.
Oh, well, okay. I think that's a very good idea.
Now don't tell anybody, okay?
No, I won't tell anybody.
Now, I think that is a very good idea. We will have to decide which one of those things is going to be the best way to get rid of the king. Oh, yes. Now, I just say, I hope there are no extra ears around. I don't see any extra ears, except, of course, yours. And I happen to see there are 2 elves here with very long ears. Oh, my goodness me. Well. I think I will just have to go and we will have to make a plan and see what we can do.
Well, I heard all of that, and that sounds very, very distressing. Oh, goodness gracious. They want to kill the king. What am I going to do? I think I'd better go and tell Queen Esther, because she must know about this. Oh, this is terrible. Queen Esther, where are you? I have something very important to tell you.
All right, Mordecai, I'm coming. I'm just putting on some perfume quickly.
All right, my dear. It's very, very important. I must tell you something.
Here we are.
Oh, you do smell wonderful, Esther.
Oh, thank you very much. What is it? You look so worried, Mordecai.
It's terrible. The news is that there is a plan to kill the king.
A plan to kill the king? Oh no, that is terrible. A plan to kill the king?
Yes, I just heard Teresh and Big Ton plotting to kill the king.
Oh dear. Well, what are we going to do?
I think you need to go and tell the king right away and warn him about this.
Oh yes, that is a very good plan. I will go to the king and warn him.
All right, hurry, Esther, and you must go and tell him.
All right, I will go and warn him. Oh, what a terrible thing. The king, a plot to kill the king. Oh, this is no good at all. Oh, Your Majesty, where are you?
Yes, I hear you calling me, my dear.
Oh, King Ahasuerus, I have some very distressing news for you.
Distressing news for me?
Yes, it's terrible. Please come and I will tell you.
All right, here I come. Oh, but I don't see you, my dear.
I'm right over here.
Oh, there you are. Hello, my darling. Now, what is this distressing news you want to tell me?
Oh, it's Mordecai. You know my cousin Mordecai.
Yes, I know your cousin.
He said that there are people plotting to kill you.
To kill me?
Yes, it's Big Ton and his friend. They are planning to kill the king.
Oh, planning to kill me? Well, I'm very glad that we found out about this.
Who did you say told you? It was Mordecai, my cousin Mordecai.
Oh, your cousin. Oh, yes, of course. Well, that is a very, very useful thing. Now, we must find those people and we will deal with them.
Okay, all right.
But in the meantime, Mordecai is a great hero now that he has found out this dastardly plot to kill me. And I think we need to go and fetch the Chronicles of Shushan.
Oh, all right.
Just wait there. I will see if I can find the Chronicle book. Here we are. I have it right over here.
Oh, that is great.
Now, we will write down in this book all about Mordecai, your cousin, that he has managed to foil this terrible plot to kill me, and we must reward him for that. All right, now, let's just take this book, and we will carefully write down everything you told me.
All right, my dear.
And I think that those terrible, cruel, nasty crooks are going to get their just desserts, my dear.
Yes, I think that is a very good idea. Hey, and then they won't be able to hurt you.
No, they won't be able to hurt me at all. They will be thrown in jail, and then something terrible will happen to them.
Yes, I think it will probably be the end of them. Well. And so, everybody lived happily, of course. Those two crooks got their just desserts. Indeed they did. And everything went fine for quite a while until a certain thing happened. Now, you see, this is what happened. There was a certain wicked man, a kind of a schmendrick called Haman. Now, you know, he became the right-hand man of the king. He was promoted up and up and up until he had a lot of power, more power even than the princes. Oh, yes, he was like a vizier, sort of, you know, advisor to the king, a bit like Elon Musk. Yes, it was one big schmooze, and he is one big klutz. Now you will see all the trouble that he was causing. Oh, how wonderful for me! I have so much power now. Oh, now I can get everybody to do what I want them to do. Oh, let me see. I think I can hear something out there. Oh, let me come up and have a little look. Oh, I have to try out my power now. I never had so much power as I have now. Whoops! Well, how lovely to see all of you at Beit Emanuel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Haman. And here I am. I have a lot of power in this country now, and I'm just looking to see. Well, what have we here?
Hello.
Hello is not enough. You are supposed to bow down before me.
Bow down before you?
Yes, yes, yes.
I am the great
Haman.
The great Haman?
Yes, and you are supposed to bow down before me.
I am afraid I'm not going to do that. Most definitely not.
You're not?
No, I only bow down to my God. I am Jewish. And you, my friend Haman, are Meshuggah.
I beg your pardon? How dare you speak to me so insolently? You will be very sorry for refusing to bow down to me. Not only will you be sorry, but so will all your people be sorry. Off you go now. So rude. I cannot believe this. Won't bow down to me? Now, I will have to go and tell the king all about this. And then we will see what kind of a plan we can make. Your Majesty! Hello, Your Majesty! Where are you? Your Majesty, I have something very, very important to tell you.
Oh, is that you, Haman?
Yes, it's me.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm very busy at the moment.
Well, just come along because it's very important what I have to say.
All right. But I can't speak to you for very long.
No, that's all right. You don't have to speak to me for very long. Now, this is what I want to tell you. There is a certain person in the kingdom who will not bow down to me.
Oh,
and that probably means he won't bow down to you either.
I see. Well, thank you very much.
No, wait a moment. I want to tell you some more. I think him and his people are causing a lot of trouble. They eat like funny kinds of food, you see, and they have strange customs about praying, and they do not obey your laws. I think
I can't listen to you going on and on now, Haman.
No. Just listen to me. And I think we should
just take care of it. You know what to do.
I know what to do. Thank you so much, Your Majesty. I know exactly what to do. Now, I just have to make a lovely plan and see if I can put it into operation. This will be very, very good. Now, let's see. We can draw lots, and then on a particular day, we can just kill all those Jews. Now, I think that is a very, very good idea. Now, he told me what to do. I have carte blanche, and I can do whatever I wish to do. Now, I will be on my way, and what a clever plan I made today.
Oh, my goodness. He wants to kill all the Jews? Oh, no. This is too terrible. Oh, Esther, come, I must speak to you.
Oh, all right, I'm coming. I'm just getting ready.
All right, please, Esther. It's very, very important.
All right, I'm coming on my way, Mordecai. Here I am, but I don't see you anywhere.
Oh, because I'm down here, my dear.
Oh, there you are.
Yes, here I am. Please, come down. It's so important. All right.
Now tell me, what is the problem?
I just heard that there is a plot to kill the Jews.
A plot to kill the Jews?
Yes, the wicked Haman.
Oh no!
He is choosing to kill us all and me also.
Oh no! And you too? Oh, did you hear when he's going to do it?
Well, I heard him plotting. I think it's going to be on the 14th of Adar. You must go and speak to the king.
No, I can't speak to the king. He will kill me if I don't have permission.
Oh my goodness, that sounds a little bit rash.
Yes, it is a little little bit rash. You know, he only speaks to you if you have a golden scepter.
A golden scepter? Well, Esther, you have a lot of chutzpah.
Oh, yes, I do.
Now just be brave and go and speak to him. Maybe you can just take that golden scepter and speak to him. And
Well, I don't know. We could get into a lot of trouble. You know, he could just lose his temper or something.
well, there's nothing better than just trying. Now off you go, Esther. Be brave and speak to the king.
All right. I will do my very, very best. Oh dear, I hope this is going to work. You know what? I've got an idea. I think maybe I need to make some kind of a plan. Yes, I must make a plan. Let me see. I think I will get the Jewish people to fast for 3 days, and then we can maybe have a banquet or two. Yes, that's an idea. Now, let me see if I can find the king. Your Majesty, my dear, my darling.
Yes, hello, Esther, are you calling me?
Yes, I am calling you.
Oh, I see.
I was just wondering about the scepter.
About the scepter? What about the scepter?
Well, I would like to talk to you, you see, and I don't have the golden scepter.
You don't have the golden scepter? Oh, well, it's right over there.
Oh, all right. Thank you. I will just go in and fetch it. And here we are. Oh, all right. Here we go. Now, my darling, could I talk to you?
Of course you can talk to me. You are my beloved. You can talk to me anytime.
Oh, well, that's very good. It sounds as if the rules have changed a little bit. Well, I just wanted to tell you that I would like to invite you and Haman.
Yes, to
a banquet.
To a banquet? Oh, that sounds very nice.
Yes, we'll have a banquet, and it would be lovely if you could both come.
All right. Well, for sure we will be there.
All right. Thank you. I will put the golden scepter down now.
Oh, a banquet? Well, that sounds like it should be something very, very nice indeed. But now I am feeling very tired. Let me see if I can fall asleep. Oh, it's very hard to fall asleep. Oh, I just seem to be pacing around, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. You know, there's something that I keep on thinking about. It's the Chronicle. Now, I seem to remember there was something in the Chronicle about a reward. Oh, yes, I had forgotten about that. There was supposed to be a reward for... Now, who was it? It was a reward for... Oh, it was Esther's cousin. Of course. He's the one who saved my life. Oh, Mordecai, now I remember his name. I have not given him a reward at all. Oh, I must speak to Haman. Haman!
Yes. Here I am. Oh, dear, Your Majesty, you couldn't sleep?
No, I couldn't sleep. And I was just looking at the Chronicles of Shushan.
Oh, you were?
And now I wanted to ask you something.
Oh, you did?
I wanted to find out if there was somebody who was very, very loyal to the king and very kind and very helpful.
You must be speaking about me, of course.
What kind of reward do you think you would give him?
Well, somebody like that, Your Majesty, I would give him lots and lots of money and jewelry. I would make sure he has no load shedding at all, or water shedding. I would give him a beautiful horse, and he could ride through the town.
I see. Well, Haman, I would like for you to go and fetch Mordecai, and he should have all those things.
Mordecai? But Mordecai is the one that I've just erected gallows for him. You know, he's...
No, he is the one who has saved my life.
He saved your life?
Yes, he saved my life.
Oh, Oh dear, I seem to have missed the plot somewhere along the way.
I think so. You have definitely missed the plot. Now off you go, Haman, and tell Mordecai that he is going to be promoted.
Promoted? To what, Your Majesty?
To my right-hand man.
Excuse me, Your Majesty already have a right-hand man, named of yours truly.
Well, you're not going to be my right-hand man anyway.
Well, it's okay. I don't mind being a southpaw. I could be your left-hand man.
No, you are going to be in big trouble. I think you have been double-crossing me.
Double-crossing you? Oh, never. I would never do a thing like that.
Off you go now, Haman. You are in a lot of trouble now. Oh, and now I must find my dear, darling Esther. Esther, please come here. I must speak with you.
All right, I'm coming, my darling. I heard you calling me. I just put the scepter down. Do you mind if I talk to you still?
Of course I don't mind if you talk to me. Now, Esther, I think you have been hiding something from me.
Yes, I have been hiding something from you. And the thing is, my darling, although I love you so much, you have given me a lot of tourists.
Oh? Tourists? What do you mean?
Why is it that you wish to put me and my people, the Jews, to death?
Put you to death? No, I would never do a thing like that.
But Haman would.
Haman would?
Yes, Haman would. He has even set up a gallows for my cousin Mordecai, who saved your life.
Yes, I just found out about that. Oh, my goodness, I never realized that he was up to all this trouble. Now, things are going to be changing from now on. From now on, the Jews will be treated with great respect in my kingdom. This will be the end of Haman.
That's a very good idea.
I think we will use the gallows for him.
Well, I suppose so. We still haven't had the death penalty abolished. I suppose that's going to come in a long time.
Now, your cousin Mordecai is going to be promoted to my very closest advisor.
Oh, that is wonderful news, my love.
Now, come along. Let's go and celebrate.
Oh, yes, that is a very good idea. We will celebrate the freedom of our people, and they will not have to worry anymore about that nasty, vicious Haman.
And so it was that Esther, our brave and wise heroine, saved the Jews together with the help of her cousin Mordecai, a real mensch, if I may say. And that is why we celebrate Purim today and every year on the 15th of Adar. And you know what to do when you hear the name of the wicked Shmendrik Haman. When you hear the name of Haman, stamp your feet. When you hear the name of Haman, stamp your feet. When you hear the name of Haman, when you hear the name of Haman, when you hear the name of Haman, stamp your feet. When you hear the name of Esther, shout hurrah. When you hear the name of Esther, shout hurrah. When you hear the name of Esther, when you hear the name of Esther, when you hear the name of Esther, shout hurrah.
Congratulations, and let's give a big round of applause to Margaret for giving us Purim in a way that most of us will never have seen that story. Thank you so much, Margaret, and also filling in some gaps in the story, which we may not have thought about, right? Why did they decide to plot and all these kinds of interesting things? So it's traditional, you've seen the dramatization, it's traditional also to read the Megillah. So I'm going to do it relatively fast, and we are going to do the engagement, right? So as you heard from Margaret, when we hear Haman, we're going to boo. Right? When we have Esther, we said hurrah, but I want to add an African tinge to that. We're going to add a bit of a ululation, right? Yes. Ooh. Woo! Okay, I can't do it very well, but we're all going to do that, okay? Woo! There's one character that you didn't hear about called Zeresh, and she's often regarded, she's the wife of Haman, and she's often regarded as being very snake-like because she goes behind the back and is deceptive. So we're going to all go for when we hear Zeresh, okay? And Mordechai, what are we going to do? We're going to clap, okay? So we're going to clap when we hear Mordechai. And you all please stay around because there's lovely food afterwards for everyone. So we're going to do this relatively quickly, and then we are going to all eat together and celebrate together. Remember, this is the day, as you'll hear at the end, we also are supposed to give gifts to each other and think about those who are worse off than us, the poor. We're supposed to give charity as well on Purim, as well as dress up. Okay? I'm going to read the brachot. Please say for reading the Megillah, and please say Amen. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al Mikra Megillah. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, she'asa nisim la'avotenu v'imotenu b'yamim hahem b'zman hazeh. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, she'chiyanu v'kimanu v'gianu la'zman hazeh. Many of you have booklets. If you don't, there are some JPS Tanachim. They're on page 1785. Thank you to Elise for copying the booklets. And so it happened in the days of Achashverosh that Achashverosh, who reigned over 127 provinces from India to Ethiopia, in those days when King Achashverosh occupied the royal throne in the fortress Shushan, in the 3rd year of his reign, he gave a banquet for all the officials and courtiers, the administrators of Persia and Media, the nobles and the governors of the provinces in his service. For no fewer than 180 days he displayed the vast riches of his kingdom and the splendid glory of his majesty. At the end of this period, the king gave a banquet for 7 days in the court of the king's palace garden for all the people who lived in the fortress Shushan high and low alike. There were hangings of white cotton and blue wool, caught up by cords of fine linen and purple wool, to silver rods and alabaster columns, and there were couches of gold and silver on a pavement of marble, alabaster, mother of pearl, and mosaics. Royal wine was served in abundance as befits a king, in golden beakers, beakers of varied design, and the rule for the drinking was no restrictions. You can drink without restriction. For the king had given orders to every palace steward to comply with each man's wishes. In addition, Queen Vashti gave a banquet for women in the royal palace of King Achashverosh. And on the 7th day, when the king was merry with wine, he ordered Memuchan, Bizeta, Chavona, Bigta, Bagta, Tetar, and Karkas, the 7 eunuchs in attendance on the King Achashverosh, to bring Queen Vashti before the king, wearing a royal diadem to display her beauty to the people and the officials. For she was a beautiful woman. But Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command conveyed by the eunuchs. The king was greatly incensed and his fury burned within him. And the king consulted the sages, learned in procedure, for it was royal practice to all who were versed in law and precedent. His closest advisors were Karshna, Shetar, Admata, Tarshish, Meris, Marsena, and Memuchan, the 7 ministers of Persia and Media, who had access to the royal presence and occupied the first palace in the kingdom. What he asked shall be done according to the law to Queen Vashti for failing to obey the command of King Achashverosh conveyed by the eunuchs. And thereupon Memuchan declared in the presence of the king and the ministers, Queen Vashti has committed an offense not only against your majesty, but also against all the officials and against all the peoples in the provinces of King Achashverosh. For the queen's behavior will make all wives despise their husbands, as they reflect that King Achashverosh himself ordered Queen Vashti to be brought before him. But she would not come. This very day, the ladies of Persia and Media who have heard of the queen's behavior will cite it to all your majesty's officials, and there will be no end of scorn and provocation. If it please your majesty, let a royal edict be issued by you, and let it be written in the laws of Persia and Media, so that it cannot be aggregated, that Vashti shall never enter the presence of King Achashverosh, and let your majesty bestow her royal statute upon another who is more worthy than she. Then will the judgment executed by your majesty resound throughout your realms, vast though it is, and all wives will treat their husbands with respect, high and low alike. The proposal was approved by the king and the ministers, and the king did as Memuchan proposed. Dispatches were sent to all the provinces of the king, to every province in its own script, and to every nation in its own language, that every man shall wield authority in his home and speak the language of his own people. Sometimes afterwards, when the anger of King Ahasuerus subsided, he thought of Vashti and what she had done and what had been decreed against her. The king's servants who attended him said, "Let beautiful young virgins be sought out, your majesty. Let your majesty appoint officers in every province of your realm to assemble all the beautiful young virgins at the fortress Shushan in the harem under the supervision of Haggai, the king's eunuch guardian of the women. Let them be provided with their cosmetics, and let the maiden who pleases your majesty be queen instead of Vashti." The proposal pleased the king, and he acted upon it. In the fortress Shushan lived a Jew by the name of Mordechai, clap, son of Yair, son of Shimei, son of Kish of Benjamin. Kish had been exiled from Jerusalem in the group that was carried into exile, along with King Jeconiah of Yehuda, which had driven into exile by King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. He was foster father to Hadassah, that is Esther. Woo! His uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. The maiden was sharply beautiful, and when her father and mother died, Mordechai adopted her as his own daughter. When the king's order and edict was proclaimed, and when many girls were assembled in the fortress Shushan under the supervision of Haggai, Esther was taken into the king's palace under the supervision of Haggai, guardian of the women. The girl pleased him and won his favor, and hastened to furnish her with her cosmetics and her rations, as well as with the 7 maids who were due from the king's palace, and he treated her and the maids with special kindness in the harem. Esther did not reveal her people or her kindred, for Mordechai had told her not to reveal it. Every single day Mordechai would walk about in front of the court of the harem to learn about how Esther was faring and what was happening to her. When each girl's turn came to go to King Ahasuerus at the end of the 12 months treatment prescribed for women, for that was the period spent on beautifying them, 6 months with oil and myrrh and 6 months with perfumes and women's cosmetics, and it was after that the girl would go to the king. Whatever she asked for her would be given and taken with her from the harem to the king's palace. She would go in the evening and leave in the morning for a second harem in the charge of Shashgaz, the king's eunuch guardian of the concubines. She would not go again to the king unless the king wanted her, when she would be summoned by name. When the turn came for Esther, daughter of Abichail, the uncle of Mordechai, who had adopted her as his own daughter to go to the king, she did not ask for anything but what Haggai, the king's eunuch guardian of the women, advised. Yet Esther won the admiration of all who saw her. Esther was taken to King Ahasuerus in his royal palace in the 10th month, which is the month of Tevet. In the 7th year of his reign, the king loved Esther more than all the other women, and she won his grace and favor more than all the virgins. So he set a royal diadem on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. The king gave a great banquet for all his officials and courtiers, the banquet of Esther. He proclaimed a remission of taxes for the provinces and distributed gifts as befits a king. When the virgins were assembled a second time, Mordechai sat in the palace gate, but Esther still did not reveal her kindred or her people as Mordechai had instructed her, for Esther obeyed Mordechai's bidding as she had done when she was under his tutelage. At that time, when Mordechai was sitting in the palace gate, as you heard from Margaret, Bigtan and Teresh, 2 of the king's eunuchs who guarded the threshold, became angry and plotted to do away with King Ahasuerus. Mordechai learned of it, and he told to Queen Esther, and Esther reported to the king in Mordechai's name. The matter was investigated and found to be so, and the 2 were impaled on stakes. And that was recorded in the book of Annals in the instances of the king. Now listen carefully, this chapter, someone else is coming into the story. Sometime afterwards, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, son of Hammedatha the Agagite. He advanced him, seated him higher than any of his fellow officials. All the king's courtiers in the palace gate knelt and bowed low to Haman. For such was the king's order concerning him. But Mordechai would not kneel or bow low. Then the king's courtiers who were in the palace said to Mordechai, "Why do you disobey the king's order?" When they spoke to him day after day, he would not listen to them. They told Haman, in order to see whether Mordechai's resolve would prevail. For he had explained to them that he was a Jew, And when Haman saw that Mordecai would not kneel or bow low to him, Haman, boo, was filled with rage. But he disdained to lay hands on Mordecai alone, having been told who Mordecai's people were. Haman plotted to do away with all the Jews, Mordecai's people, throughout the kingdom of Ahasuerus. In the first month, that is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, Pur, which means a lot, was cast before Haman concerning every day and every month until it fell on the 12th month, that is the month of Adar. Haman then said to King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered and dispersed among the other peoples in all the provinces of your realm, whose laws are different from those of any other people, and who do not obey the king's laws. And it is not in your majesty's interest to tolerate them. If it please your majesty, let an edict be drawn for their destruction, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the stewards for deposit in the royal treasury. Thereupon the king removed his signet ring from his hand, and he gave it to Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the foe of the Jews. And the king said, the money and the people are yours to do with as you see fit. On the 13th day of the first month, the king's scribes were summoned, and a decree was issued, as Haman directed to the king's satraps, to the governors of every province, and to the officials of every people, to every province in its own script, and to every people in its own language. The orders were issued in the name of King Ahasuerus and sealed with the king's signet. Accordingly, written instructions were dispatched by couriers to all the king's provinces to destroy, to massacre, to exterminate all the Jews, young and old, children and women, on a single day, on the 13th day of the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, and to plunder their possessions. The text of that document was to the effect that a law should be proclaimed in every single province. It was to be publicly displayed to all the people so that they might be ready for that day. The couriers went out post-haste on the royal mission, and the decree was proclaimed in the fortress of Shushan, and the king and Haman sat down to feast, but the city of Shushan was dumbfounded. When Mordecai learned all that had happened, Mordecai tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and ashes. He went through the city crying out loudly and bitterly until he came in front of the palace gate, for one would not enter the palace gate wearing sackcloth. Also in every province that the king's command and decree reached, there was great mourning among the Jews. There was fasting, weeping and wailing, and everyone lay in sackcloth and ashes. When Esther, maidens and eunuchs came and informed her, the queen was greatly agitated. She sent clothing for Mordecai to wear so that he might take off his sackcloth, but he refused. Thereupon Esther summoned Hatach, one of the eunuchs whom the king had appointed to serve her, and sent him to Mordecai to learn the why for the wherefore and all. And Hatach went out to Mordecai in the city square in front of the palace gate, and Mordecai told him that all that happened to him and all about the money that Haman had offered to pay into the royal treasury for the destruction of the Jews. He also gave him written text of the law that had been proclaimed in Shushan for their destruction. He bade him show it to Esther and inform her and charge her to go to the king and to appeal to him and to plead with him for her people. And when Hatach came and delivered Mordecai's message to Esther, Esther told Hatach to take back to Mordecai the following reply: all the king's courtiers and the people of the king's provinces know that if any person, man and woman, enters the king's presence in the inner court without having been summoned, there is but one law for him, that he be put to death. Only if the king extends the golden scepter to him may he live. Now I have not been summoned to visit the king for the last 30 days. When Mordecai was told what Esther had said, Mordecai had this message delivered to Esther: do not imagine that you of all the Jews will escape with your life by being in the king's palace. On the contrary, if you keep silent in this crisis, relief and deliverance will come to the Jews from another quarter, while you and your father's house will perish. And who knows, perhaps you have attained this royal position for just such a crisis. Then Esther sent back his answer to Mordecai: go assemble all the Jews who live in Shushan and fast in my behalf. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my maidens will observe the fast, and then I shall go to the king, though contrary to law, and if I am to perish, I shall perish. And so Mordecai went about the city and did just as Esther had commanded him. And on the third day, Esther put on royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's palace, facing the king's palace, while the king was sitting on his royal throne in the throne room facing the entrance of the palace. And as soon as the king saw Queen Esther Standing in the court, she won his favor. The king extended to Esther the golden scepter which he had in his hand, and Esther approached and touched the tip of the scepter. What troubles you, Queen Esther? The king asked her, and what is your request? Even to half the kingdom it shall be granted to you. If it please your majesty, Esther replied, let your majesty and Haman come today to the feast that I prepared for him. And the king commanded, tell Haman to hurry and do Esther's bidding. And so the king and Haman came to the feast that Esther had prepared. At the wine feast, the king asked Esther, what is your wish? It shall be granted you. And what is your request? Even to half the kingdom it shall be fulfilled. My wish, replied Esther, my request, if your majesty will do me the favor, if it please your majesty to grant my wish and accede to my request, let your majesty and Haman come to the feast which I'll prepare for them, and tomorrow I will do your majesty's bidding. That day Haman went out happy and light-hearted, but when Haman saw Mordecai, yes, in the palace gate, and Mordecai did not rise or even stir on his account, Haman was filled with rage at him. Nevertheless, Haman controlled himself and went home. He sent for his friends and his wife Zeresh. And Haman, told them that his great wealth and his many sons, and all about how the king had promoted him and advanced him above the officials and the king's courtiers. What is more, said Haman, Queen Esther gave a feast, and besides the king she did not have anyone but me, and tomorrow too I am invited by her along with the king. Yet all this means nothing to me every time I see that Jew Mordecai sitting in the palace gate. Then his wife Zeresh and all his friends said to him, let a stake be put up 50 cubits high, and in the morning ask the king to have Mordecai impaled upon it, and then you can go gaily with the king to a feast. And the proposal pleased Haman, and he had the stake put up. That night sleep deserted the king, and he ordered the book of records, the annals, to be brought, and it was read to the king. There it was found written that Mordecai had denounced Bigtana and Teresh, two of the king's eunuchs who guarded the threshold, who had plotted to do away with the king Ahasuerus. What honor or advancement has been conferred on Mordecai for this? The king inquired. Nothing or at all has been done for him, replied the king's servants who were in attendance on him. Who's in the court? The king asked. For Haman had just entered the outer court of the royal palace to speak to the king about having Mordecai impaled on the stake he had prepared for him. It is Haman. Standing in the court, the king's servants answered him, let him enter, said the king. Haman entered, and the king asked him, what should be done for a man whom the king desires to honor? Haman said to himself, who would the king desire to honor more than me? So Haman said to the king, for the man whom the king desires to honor, let the royal garb which the king has worn be brought, and a horse on which the king has ridden, and on whose head a royal diadem has been set, and let the attire and the horse be put in charge of one of the king's noble courtiers, and let the man whom the king desired to honor be attired and paraded on the horse through the city square while they proclaim before him, this is what is done for the man who the king desires to honor. Quick then, said the king to Haman, get the garb and the horse as you have said, and do this to Mordecai, the Jew who sits in the king's gate. Omit nothing of all you have proposed. So Haman took the garb and the horse and arrayed Mordecai and paraded him through the city square, and he proclaimed before him, this is what is done for the man the king desires to honor. Then Mordecai returned to the king's gate while Haman hurried home, his head covered in mourning. And then Haman told his wife Zeresh and all his friends everything that had befallen him. His advisors and his wife Zeresh said to him, if Mordecai, before whom you have begun to fall, is of Jewish stock, you will not overcome him. You will fall before him to your ruin. And while they were still speaking with him, the king's eunuchs arrived and hurriedly brought Haman to the banquet which Esther had prepared. So the king and Haman came to feast with Queen Esther. On the second day, the king again asked Esther at the wine feast, what is your wish, Queen Esther? it shall be granted you. And what is your request? Even to half the kingdom shall it be fulfilled. Queen Esther replied, if your majesty will do me the favor, and if it pleases your majesty, let my life be granted me as my wish, and my people as my request. For we have been sold, my people and I, to be destroyed, massacred, and exterminated. Had we only been sold as bondmen and bondwomen, I would have kept silent, for the adversary is not worthy of the king's trouble. Thereupon King Ahasuerus demanded of Queen Esther, who is he and where is he who dared to do this? And the adversary and enemy replied, Esther is the evil Haman. Boo. And Haman cringed in the terror before the king and the queen. The king in his fury left the wine feast for the palace garden, while Haman, boo, remained to plead with Queen Esther for his life, for he saw that the king had resolved to destroy him. When king returned from the palace garden to the banquet room, Haman was lying prostrate on the couch on which Esther reclined. Does he mean, cried the king, to ravish the queen in my own palace? No sooner did the words leave the king's lips than Haman's face was covered. And then Harbona, one of the eunuchs in attendance on the king, said, what is more at stake is standing at Haman house 50 cubits high, which Haman made for Mordecai, the man whose word saved the king. Impale him on it, said the king, ordered. And so they impaled Haman on the stake which he had put up for Mordecai, and the king's fury abated. And that very day, King Ahasuerus gave the property of Haman, the enemy of the Jews, to Queen Esther. Mordecai presented himself to the king, for Esther had revealed how he was related to her. The king slipped off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, boo, and gave it to Mordecai. And Esther put Mordecai in charge of Haman's property. Esther spoke to the king again, falling at his feet and weeping and beseeching him to avert the evil plotted by Haman, the Agagite, against the Jews. The king extended the golden scepter to Esther, and Esther arose and stood before the king. If it please your majesty, she said, and if I have won your favor and proposal seems right to your majesty, and if I'm pleasing to you, let dispatches be written countermanding those which were written by Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, embodying his plot to annihilate the Jews through the king's provinces. For how can I bear to see the disaster which will befall my people? And how can I bear to see the destruction of my kindred? And then King Ahasuerus said to Queen Esther and Mordecai the Jew, I have given Haman's property to Esther, and he's been impaled on the stake for scheming against the Jews. And you may write further with regard to the Jews as you see fit. Write it in the king's name and seal it with the king's signet, for an edict that has been written in the king's name and sealed with the king's signet may not be revoked. So the king's scribes were summoned at that time on the 23rd day of the 3rd month, that is the month of Sivan, and letters were written at Mordecai's dictation to the Jews and to the satraps, to the governors and the officials of 137 provinces from India to Ethiopia, to every province in its own script and to every people in its own language, and to the Jews in their own script and language. He had them written in the name of King Ahasuerus and sealed with the king's signet. Letters were dispatched by mounted couriers riding steeds used in the king's service, spread of the royal stud to this effect. The king had permitted the Jews of every city to assemble, to fight for their lives. If any people or province attacks them, they may destroy, massacre, and exterminate its armed forces, together with women and children, and plunder their possessions. On a single day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, namely in the 13th day of the 12th month, that is the month of Adar. The text of the document was to be issued as a law in every single province. It was to be publicly displayed to all the people, so that the Jews should be ready for that day to avenge themselves on their enemies. The couriers mounted on royal steeds went out in urgent haste at the king's command, and the decree was proclaimed in the fortress Shushan. Mordecai left the king's presence in royal robes of blue and white, with a magnificent crown of gold and a mantle of fine linen and purple wool, and the city of Shushan rang with joyous cries. The Jews enjoyed light and gladness, happiness and honor, and in every province and in every city, when the king's command and decree arrived, there was gladness and joy among the Jews, a feast and a holiday. And many of the people of the land professed or converted to be Jews, for the fear of the Jews had fallen upon them. And so what happened? On the 13th day of the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, when the king's command and decree were to be executed, the very day on which the enemy of the Jews had expected to get them in their power, the opposite happened, and the Jews got their enemies in their power. Through the provinces of King Ahasuerus, the Jews mustered in their cities to attack those who sought them hurt, and no one could withstand them, for the fear of them had fallen upon all the peoples. Indeed, all the officials of the provinces, the satraps, the governors, and the king's stewards, showed deference to the Jews because the fear of Mordecai had fallen upon them. For Mordecai was now powerful in the royal palace, and his fame was spread through all the provinces. The man Mordecai was growing ever more powerful. So the Jews struck at their enemies with the sword, slaying and destroying. They weakened their wills upon their enemies. In the fortress of Shushan, the Jews killed a total of 500 men. They also killed, and you're supposed to say this without any breath, so I'm going to try to do that. Okay, it's the 10 sons of Haman. Beit, Parshat Data Dalfod, Beit Asvata, Beit Porata, Beit Adalia, Beit Aridata, Beit Parabasta, Beit Arisai, Beit Aridai, Beit Vaizata, Aseret B'nai Haman, the 10 sons of Haman of Amadatah, the foe of the Jews. But they did not lay hands on the spoil. When the number of those slain in the fortress Shushan was reported on that same day to the king said to Queen Esther, in the fortress Shushan alone, the Jews have killed a total of 500 men, as well as the 10 sons of Haman. What there must have been done in the provinces of the realm, what is your wish now? It shall be granted to you. And what else is your request? It shall be fulfilled. If it please your majesty, Esther replied, let the Jews in Shushan be permitted to act tomorrow, also as they did today, and let Haman's 10 sons be impaled on the stake. The king ordered that this should be done, and the decree was proclaimed in Shushan. Haman's 10 sons were impaled, and Jews in Shushan mustered again on the 14th day of Adar and slew 300 men in Shushan, but they did not lay hands on the spoil. The rest of the Jews, those in the king's provinces, likewise mustered and fought for their lives. They disposed of their enemies, killing 75,000 of their foes, but they did not lay hand on the spoil. That was on the 13th day of the month of Adar, and they rested on the 14th day and made it a day of feasting and merrymaking. But the Jews in Shushan mustered on both the 13th and 14th days, and so rested on the 15th day and made it a day of feasting and merrymaking. And that is why village Jews who live in unwalled towns observe the 14th day of the month of Adar and make it a day of merrymaking and feasting, and a holiday and an occasion for sending gifts to one another. Mordecai recorded these events, and he sent dispatches to all the Jews throughout the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, near and far, charging them to observe the 14th and 15th days of Adar every year, the same days in which the Jews enjoyed relief from their foes, in the same month which had been transformed for them from one of grief and mourning to one of festive joy. They were to observe them as days of feasting and merrymaking, as an occasion for sending gifts to one another and presents to the poor. The Jews accordingly assumed an obligation that which they had begun to practice and which Mordecai prescribed for them. We're nearly at the end, so let's get big boos here for Haman, son of Amadatah. They aggregate the foes of all the Jews, had plotted to destroy the Jews and had cast Pur, that is a lot, with intent to crush and exterminate them. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded, with the promulgation of this decree, let the evil plot which he devised against the Jews recoil on his own head. And so they impaled him and his sons on the stake. And for that reason these days were named Purim after Pur. In view then of all the instructions in the said letter, what they had experienced in that matter and what had befallen them, the Jews undertook and irrevocably obliged themselves and their descendants and all who might join them to observe these 2 days in the manner prescribed at the proper time each year. Consequently, these days are recalled and observed in every generation by every family, every province, and every city. And these days of Purim shall never cease among the Jews, and the memory of them shall never perish among their descendants. Then Queen Esther, daughter of Abichail, wrote a second letter of Purim for purpose of confirming with full authority the aforementioned one of Mordecai. Big clap, the Jew. Dispatches were sent to all the Jews in the 127 provinces in the realm of Ahasuerus with an ordinance of equity and honesty. These days of Purim shall be observed at the proper time as Mordecai, the Jew. And now Queen Esther has obligated them to do, and just as they have assumed for themselves and their descendants the obligation of the fast with their lamentations. And Esther's ordinance, yes, go ahead, ordinance validating these observances of Purim was recorded in a scroll. And last chapter, which is very short, King Ahasuerus imposed tribute on the mainland and the islands. All his mighty and powerful acts and a full account of the greatness to which the king advanced, Mordecai, are recorded in the annals of the kings of Media and Persia. For Mordecai, the Jew, ranked next to King Ahasuerus was highly regarded by the Jews and popular with the multitude of his brethren. He sought the good of his people and interceded for the welfare of all his kindred. And so we clap at that. And that is our story of Purim for the year. We've read the whole Megillah with great participation. Thank you very much, everyone. It was so great to have you involved and participating and excited, and you heard the whole wonderful story of the Megillah. So we're going to conclude our service and then go eat, because I'm sure all of you are by now really ready for that. So page 586, let us stand up. I think we've got two people who are due to open the ark, Sarona and Jacob. Please come quickly and open the ark for us. And we will then very shortly thereafter go and eat. We can sing a Purim song while they're coming up. Chag Purim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol LaYeladim, Masechot v'Rashanim, Shirim v'Rikodim, Havana Risha, Rash, 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 Havana Risha, Rash, 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 Havana Risha, Rash, 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 V'Harashanim. That's the traditional grammar that people do. Okay, let's go. Let's open up. And together, page 586. Onakol, Lateit Gedula Liotze Bereshit, Shiloas Kiguye Rats, Velos, Kahem, Vergora. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום בשבותה ולבשת לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. Page 588. 589, let's read that together. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your reign be established on earth, and the word of your prophet be fulfilled. The Eternal One will reign forever and ever. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. U'shema echad. Thank you. We also, in finishing our service, we are going to also do the Kaddish, and we'll remember all those in our community who are mourning, all those who have been subject to terrible violence, hatred on grounds of nationality or race or religion or any other grounds, and who've lost their lives in terrible circumstances like we've read about in the Megillah. And so let us say together, page 598, Yitkadal v'yitkadash me Rabbah Be'alma divrach chivutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chaychon v'mechon v'chayedcho Beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah v'rach leolam u'mer maya yibarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'dechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol ha'olam v'imru. Amen. So we'll do it again together. Those of you, if you don't know it, just sing the tune along. and then we'll go and celebrate together and eat. And just remember, when we celebrate as Jews, we also celebrate by considering others who are not as well off as ourselves. So remember, Purim tomorrow, it's a special day to give charity, to give to those who are less well off, and to create good, positive relationships between people and community. We're supposed to give little gifts between ourselves as well. And so let's finish. Chag Purim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol HaYeladim, Masechot v'Rashanim, Shirim v'Rikudim, Havana Risha, Rash, 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 Havana Risha, Rash, 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 Havana Risha, Rash, 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 v'Harashanim. One last time. Chag Purim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol HaYeladim, Masechot v'Rashanim, Shirim v'Rikudim, Havana Risha, Rash, 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 Havana Risha, Rash, 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 Havana Risha, Rash, 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 v'Harashanim. Chag Purim Sameach, everyone.